busy day every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Down
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Nothing too severe. Fair skies and 56 degrees here in downtown Indy. I'm Jake McDaniel. Here's what's trending at 11:03. Very little rain might be in your forecast throughout the work week.
For Monday, we're looking for right around a tenth to less than a tenth of an inch of rain in most areas. We always like to caveat that for folks,
Earl Breon with the National Weather Service says Tuesday and Wednesday look pretty good, but toward the end of the work week, he says
Thursday, end of the weekend, we do see a return of rain, but for the bulk of the week.
He says it's too early to tell, though, and Indiana may not get a serious amount of rain. Teacher absences are planned for some schools on Monday.
Lots of teachers are expected to show up at the State House Monday morning. I'm Sean Herrick. That's for a rally scheduled to happen from 10 to 1 that day. They're calling it a day of action for the state teachers union that'll feature heavy pushback against a proposed property tax reform bill that's calling for funding to be cut at some public schools. Some school districts will be under an e-learning day on Monday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Sleep or lack thereof can be an indicator of Alzheimer's later on. You can help Purdue University researchers like Professor A.J. Schwichtenberg.
So for this reason, we are asking people to come into the MRI facility at Purdue, fall asleep in the MRI machine so we can look at their breath, their heart rate, and their sleep stages in their brain and how that relates to CSF movement.
Also known as cerebrospinal fluid, and it removes brain waste. Here's your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
For today, mostly cloudy to partly cloudy, high temperatures in the mid-60s with winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy or low temperatures in the mid-50s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
What's one of the best ways for students to learn the value of teamwork?
By participating in high school sports. I'm Jace Martin from North Harrison High School.
And I'm Danae Klein from South Putnam High School. Playing high school sports means being a part of something bigger than myself.
I love working together with my teammates towards a common goal.
It keeps me accountable, knowing my team is depending on me.
It reminds me to prioritize the team's success over my own.
Because it's about we, not me, and that's an important lesson to learn, on the field and in life.
As teammates, we train together, we push each other, and we represent our school together. That bonds us forever.
We're a team, and that means we're in this together.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. You can be a champion of high school sports by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is the power of teamwork. This is coming together as one. This is your IHSAA.
Good morning, Central Indiana. Hi. It's Terry. I'm glad you're here. It's a beautiful day. It is
We finally get a weekend, ladies.
Yeah. It is April 13th, Palm Sunday. On this Palm Sunday, if I may, I'm filled with gratitude and feel blessed in a million ways on this Palm Sunday. And I hope you do too. That's my wishes for you today. Happy Passover as well. I made sure that Happy Passover is the appropriate greeting because I don't know. But yes, you say Happy Passover. Happy Passover. I wish you Happy Passover. I had my annual pre-Passover, pre-Palm Sunday annual watching of the Ten Commandments last night.
Oh, I thought you were going to say physical. Now I'm going to say, are you okay?
No, I never miss the Ten Commandments. Do you watch the Ten Commandments? It's as old as time.
No, I remember the story, but no, I don't watch it.
Oh, my gosh, with the great Charlton Heston and Yul Brynner
He was the
3
Pharaoh.
hours and 40 minutes long.
You get a bathroom break, right?
It's epic. If you think that was born in 1956, that movie.
Think about that.
And think about how epic that was at the time. Thousands and thousands of actors and extras in
Cecil
this
B.
film.
DeMille.
Yeah.
And he also did Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur, another
Yeah.
epic. You don't. We don't do epic anymore. When was the last epic film? Anybody? I mean, epic of that purport, of that size, of that magnitude, where they didn't have the technology that we have today. I would say Titanic.
Maybe. They have now digitized the underwater drone shots of the Titanic. I don't know if
That's
you've seen this,
cool.
but they've made it into a 3-story type depiction, and they're seeing details that nobody's seen because it's pitch black down there. I mean, you can't, if you don't bring your flashlight, you're not going to be able to see much. But now they've digitized it, and it's really looking cool.
Well, anyway, so here we sit in the studios on Monument Circle, and we love when people come to see us. We love, love, love when people come to see us. And there's big news out of the food sport world that we heard recently.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it last weekend.
We
too.
did.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about. We didn't we?
We sure did.
Isn't it funny how I already forgot
Food
what we talked
sports.
about?
But hey,
it's called food sports.
It's worth going through again.
So in studio with us is Chef Collin Hilton.
Oh,
wait, we got to
gotta
turn you
get
on.
your mics on.
There we
Yeah,
go.
sure.
Are you turned on now?
Howdy.
Colin, you're the real deal. I can feel it right now.
Representing Indiana as the reigning world noodle champion and corporate chef with the Cunningham Restaurant Group, whom we love, claimed the 2025 World Food Championship title, and he won a lot of cash. I'm not going to tell you how much, or you might want to hit him up for money.
Oh, everybody knows.
But it was
how
a
much
lot.
He made a lot. And then the sous chef.
And then the sous chef. Denny, this is a cousin of yours?
It's an adopted daughter. We met Joni Oakley Maines a few years ago. Probably too many I shouldn't admit. Back when I had dark hair. That's how long ago it was. And Joni works, as does Collin, for the Cunningham Restaurant Group. And their
so great.
Their test kitchen is just right up the street here at 320 North Meridian. And so that whole team went for this contest. And Collin, you want to tell us about the dish?
Congratulations, by the way. That
cool?
is really amazing.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
thank
tell
you.
us about the dish.
It was complex, silly. So, we kind of were jumping around on what we wanted to do, and I kind of landed on. It's a little abstract, but chicken noodle soup is sort of what I wanted to start. Is what I started with, and it kind of took. It took a few deviations, obviously. So it turned into a stuffed pasta with like pea and basil inside and in the pasta dough. The chicken broth was flavored with a lot of different things from throughout my international travels and working in different kitchens. And so we've got like ricotta negro from the Yucatan, and we pickled some Meyer lemons. It's all over the place. So
I do want to talk about that journey. Your food journey has been very interesting, and where you have cooked and where you've learned from, as you said, all over the world. But Joni, for you, when did you start cooking?
Oh, I've been cooking for probably 20 years at this point. I do a lot of administrative work for Cunningham Restaurant Group, and so I'm 50% in the kitchen, and then kind of 50% keep the wheels kind of tightened together for our back of house teams.
Yeah,
she is an extraordinary baker. And she's a scientist.
She's wearing a whisk. She has a whisk tattoo on her arm. I love it.
But she is a scientist, and I had no idea, if it wasn't Betty
Baking
Crocker.
is a science.
I know, but
truly.
I thought if it wasn't Betty Crocker, it couldn't be done, and you showed me differently.
And I've specialized in pastry for a long time. So Collin joining our team a couple of years ago, he's really pulled me out of that pastry world and enhanced what I felt like I needed to figure out, and really helped me become more comfortable. But he's pushed me more into a culinary journey, I guess, if you will, lately. And I'm incredibly grateful. It's been a good time.
Collin, it has to be abstract. You mentioned the dish. It has to be going up against all of these finalists. And you also have to include some mandatory ingredients, right?
That's correct. Yep.
What was your mandatory ingredient that you fit in?
So they gave us some options from the prior competition, like an hour before. We got first place in that, so we got first choice, and they presented 4 ingredients, and we chose cashews because we were already doing a component that had peanuts in it, so it actually was about as good as it gets, shy of it being an ingredient you're already using, about as good as it gets. So we chose cashew. But yeah, we were trying to brainstorm like how bad of a curveball could this be, knowing there was a mystery ingredient, but not knowing what it was until right before. So it's like, is it gonna be salami? Like what is it gonna be?
Who was the other member of the team? Because there were the chef, sous chef, and then you had a...
We call her, she was our Sous on the trip. So our Sous.
All right.
Christy Feichinger, she's amazing. She couldn't come with us today. She's out on a racetrack with her son, 10 to win. I'll just say that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, he's future racer. Keep an eye out
Is that right?
for him. He's coming. Yeah, he's great. She is kind of the hub and the backbone of our team. We all work together closely every day. So having her there with us and supporting us, taking photos, and just really getting us anything we needed.
How do you remember? Because I see you guys sort of pulling stuff out of your hat. And from a standpoint, who does the writing down of exactly what it is so you can duplicate it again and again and again?
This guy.
This guy?
It's collective.
It's a collective thing.
We work through things together and trial and error and strengths and weaknesses, and we've been really fortunate that we work really well together in that kind of scenario, in that setting. We tend to help each other get to a really good end result, obviously, because we were able to win, which was super cool. Cool. But yeah, it's pretty incredible,
Yeah. What motivated you to want to be to compete? Was there something?
We had no idea that we were going to do this.
Was it an accident?
Yeah, we had a mutual friend and colleague that was doing what's called like a golden ticket event for World Food Championships. So these are like the preliminary events that there's thousands of them going on probably right now in the country and the other countries that participate. He was signed up to do it and asked me initially like, hey, do you want to be my sous chef? Do you want to help me out with this? And I was just like, sure, I don't know what's going on, but easy peasy, I'll just show up and whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. And then maybe a week prior, he was like, I can't do it. Do you want to do this? I was like, well, I didn't really understand what it was. I just thought I needed to do 200 portions of a noodle. And I was like, okay, cool. And so me and Joni roll into...
Yeah, we show up. We think we're doing a catering. And like all of a sudden, people start putting these tickets in this jar on our table. They were like voting. And we're like... kind of like, what is really going on? We had to really kind of figure it out.
That's so funny. You didn't even know.
Very, very interesting.
And then we had a quick fire.
Yeah, by the end of it, we were head to head with somebody cooking a new dish and
and won that.
Amazing.
If I may ask, what event was it? Because many of our listeners go to these golden ticket events, like Zubilation is one of them.
Yeah,
right.
You're right.
So I don't know what they officially called the event, but it was at Paramount Schools on Brookside.
Okay, yes.
And the president there, I know he does a lot in terms of, I think he's involved in like Culinary Crossroads, and he does a lot of these food adjacent events, and has really been an asset in the Indianapolis community for putting these things on, having his hand in supporting it. So we stumbled into that. Actually, interestingly enough, that's now the school that my daughter's going to be going to. That was my introduction to them, to that campus. I was blown away because I helped them wrangle the chickens into the coop.
There's a garden.
They have
it's
goats,
the coolest school.
I love that.
Right.
I love that kids are getting exposed to that kind of thing
100%,
that aren't in an urban area, that are in urban settings, and getting that experience, that exposure. I think it's pretty cool. Lots of those pop-up kind of places are happening where the kids are getting exposed. You've been all over the world. From what I remember reading, and we'll take a break here in just a minute, but you went to college for philosophy, right?
Yeah.
And you said, no, I think I'm going to cook.
Well,
Is that what happened?
Yeah, all the philosophies that I was attracted to that I'm like, oh, they're nailing it on the head is like, well, I need to be going and doing something real and not just like putting my head in a book. And so I don't know. And also just my personality. I wanted to touch things. I don't really, conceptually I like stuff, but I knew early on that I wasn't going to be crunching numbers and an accountant or something.
Well, after you went to culinary school, then you really went all over to taste food and to cook food all over the world.
Yes.
And what was that journey like?
Very hodgepodge and by the seat of my pants.
I bet you use those lessons today, I'll bet.
I mean, 100%. I mean, that's life. We're just a culmination of memories that we kind of build who we are and what we're into. Yeah. And so I wasn't necessarily doing that with an agenda. I wasn't like, one day I want to be a chef at this date of this kind of restaurant, and I need these certain memories.
Yeah.
I just kind of was going where opportunity made sense, and a lot of one-way tickets.
Don't you think that we have become really here? Don't you think that we're let's see, I don't know how to word this. It won't offend somebody. I don't mean to offend anybody by this, but culturally, we have everything now here in our city. I mean, we have foods from all over the world, and I've seen it grow like that. You know, you see these pockets of foods and even grocery stores that I didn't grow up with. We've really become very diverse in what we eat here. We're willing to try new things, right?
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
I won't eat chicken feet. I'm just going to
Okay.
tell you right now.
Well, it makes a great stock, so we'll hide the feet, but we'll give you the broth.
Hey, can you guys stay with us for another segment?
Sure.
There we go. Good deal.
Okay, let's take a break. I'm glad y'all are here with us today. Chef Collin Hilton is here, and Joni Maines, she's the sous chef, and we'll be back after this. Thanks for joining us on the first day. 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
China escalates the
It's 11:23. We've got some champions right here in studio with us. Chef Collin Hilton is here. The world noodle champion Cunningham Restaurant Group is who he's with. You can follow him on Instagram and social media. On Instagram at Collin Hilton Cooks. Joni Maines, sous chef, by his side as they competed and won the World Food Championships. You can find her at Joni Maines, MANES 11 on Instagram. You are the champions.
Yes, she is. Joni's been at my house and in my kitchen. I was blessed that she would take time to teach my granddaughter how to do some baking. But here's what I remember. Joni would come over to the restaurants because Cunningham's has lots of restaurants. And whenever she'd see Jane and me at a restaurant, she'd come over. And I'd be talking to her, and she'd be looking right at my plate. And I thought, why is she looking at my plate? Well, it's the presentation. It's not just the taste. You were always focused on, was that parsley leaf right where it was supposed to be?
Oh, gosh, this was a parsley leaf moment. This was way back. He's aging me now.
No. It's not just the taste. It's also the presentation.
Yeah, it's the whole, and the whole vibe of the restaurant, rather, for that matter. It's the whole energy of the space. We love what we do. We love restaurants. We love hospitality. So we want the food to taste fantastic and something that you remember, but you want it to look the part as well. And you want the guests to feel that experience at all costs when they come in.
Well, you immediately eat with your eyes, right?
Yes.
I mean, it has to be a beautiful
That's what
presentation.
They say. Yeah.
And was that part of the competition? It had to look good too?
100%. I mean, they have this criterion they call EAT. It's an acronym, so it's execution, appearance, and taste. I think it's like 30%, 20%, 50%. Wow. So appearance is one of the three, so 100%.
What's your role at when in the competition, Joni?
Doing anything that this guy needs to get from point A to point B, and be really moral support, and lots of cleaning, and
she was telling me to calm down a lot. Calm down.
Kind of more focused. I'm really good in those kinds of situations. I like pressure, and he does get kind of nervous, rightfully so. There's that's a lot of pressure on him, so it's kind of a hard seat to be in because you want to show up as your best self, not just for him, but for everybody in the room and for his family too, so, but it was an incredible experience. I was happy to do it.
You are now the world noodle champion, right? You won the championship in this noodle category. Is that something that you often like to cook, or do you have more preferences towards other things?
We started leaning into noodle once we got the title.
Wow.
I like eating noodles. I like pasta, but
we've done more pasta in the past year than we would have done.
100%. If I was kind of doing this little self-evaluation from how I can fold a pasta and the speed at which I can do it from now to 6 months ago, and it's night and day.
That's a skill. I mean, that's a real talent to be able to make homemade noodles of any kind. Pasta.
Starting it, I was not more novice than I am now.
So in a test kitchen, how do you get your ideas? Do the three of you just all of a sudden say, let's go this direction, or let's go? What is the agenda in a test kitchen?
I think it's we all work together really well. We go out to eat, we experience those things, we read a lot, we study a lot. Depending on kind of what the vibe of the restaurant is that we're working on, what the menu is, kind of defines the flavors that we're going towards. And with those flavors come different techniques, and some things you can't put into a restaurant. You can't, everything that we do doesn't work for service all the time, which is the hardest part. But we read a lot, we study a lot, we talk together a lot, we work through tons of things. We're constantly saying this is a test kitchen, so there's really no mistakes. We try, I've tried to do different ingredients about 50 different ways to see how far you can push it,
You are the scientist. I know you do. Yeah, that's so cool.
It's fun.
It is fun. And it's fun watch. I think for me, I love watching competitions. I love food competitions. They have become very popular, and I like watching them. We've got the World Food Championships coming back here to Indianapolis this year.
In October.
Yep.
In October, they're coming back. That will be our second time, I think, maybe?
Second time hosting it. Looking forward to hopefully more.
Will you be a part of that in some sort of way, either of you?
We signed up again. We'll see.
Yeah, we're competing. We compete that weekend. I think it's like October 18th is the weekend, I think.
You already thinking about it?
Oh, yeah.
No. I mean, we chose a different category. We wanted to transition out of noodle.
Are you going to
vegetarian?
Vegetarian.
Liver? Not liver. Liver. I don't know that liver is a category.
What about spam?
We'll work on a mushroom spam. Thank you for the idea. Here we go.
I love spam.
I do too.
Spam is so good in everything. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay. All right. Oh, we're going to let you guys go. You came and you hung out with us on a Sunday. We only have parting gifts of donuts, but they're panas and they're fantastic. Thank you both and congratulations again.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Bravo.
We'll be cheering for you. And again, Cunningham, a restaurant group is where you are and
CRG.
where you. That's it. So
can I ask a quick question before we let this chef go? Oh, we're about to come across Easter and have lots of leftover ham. Just real quick, do you have any suggestion for what we do with leftover ham?
Oh yeah, tell us.
Broth and beans. I mean,
personally,
I could eat that
ham and
constantly
bean soup with some cornbread.
But ham freezes really well.
If I have
ham is spam. I mean, let's not to insult spam, but let's be real. So all the things that we've already mentioned of how great spam is. Plug in ham.
Plug in ham. There you go. You guys are the best.
Appreciate it. I'm going to be using that.
Thank you. All right. Again, Chef Collin Hilton and Sous Chef Joni Maines, thanks for coming today.
Thanks
Congratulations again. We've got news for you coming up next. 93 WIBC.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? Well, spring is the perfect
It is the final day of the Masters at beautiful Augusta National. Our next guest from Noblesville earned her way to compete there just last weekend in the National Drive, Chip, and Putt competition. Joining us now is Taylor Ross. I think her dad Adam is with her. Taylor, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
We're good. Taylor, you're getting ready for a tournament right now. Is that right?
Yes, I'm actually on my way.
On your way. And where are you playing today?
Today I'm playing at the Legends Golf Club.
Oh my gosh. Are you 12 or 13?
I am 12.
You're 12. And where do you go to school?
I go to Noblesville West Middle School.
And here's another one. I'm just going to fire these questions at you because I know you got to get ready to go. But how long have you been playing golf?
I've been playing golf ever since I could remember. So ever since I could hold a club, I just fell in love with it from there.
Did all of your family play golf? Who do you get that from?
I mostly get it from my dad, but all of my family plays golf.
I love that.
Did your dad name you? Did your mom and dad name you Taylor after the golf clubs? The Taylor made.
Yeah.
No way. I think it's awesome, and we'll talk to your dad here in a minute if he'll let us have a little bit of his time too. But do you learn lessons from golf? How does golf make you a different individual? Do you think?
I learned lessons from my dad and my golf coach, but kind of an individual thing.
When did you start focusing on actually making it to this tournament, what we call the drive, chip, and putt competition? When did you kind of start focusing on that?
I've tried, and I think this is my 6th year doing it, and this is the first time I've made it. So,
man, was it back in September that you actually made it in September? So after you get word you make it in, do you start just training pretty hard for that?
Yes, I did.
How's training go?
It was good. I got injured a little bit, so I was mostly doing short game and putting, but yeah, it was good.
Okay, so Augusta National. Is it as beautiful as it is on television?
Yes, it's beautiful. The grass doesn't even look real.
No way. Even the trees, too.
Everything is just so beautiful there, and I almost can smell it. You can almost smell it through the television.
Did you get to have any of the good food there?
Oh, like a pimento cheese sandwich?
Yes.
Really?
I got the pimento sandwich, but I really wanted to try the ice cream sandwiches, Pete's. But on the day we went to the Masters practice rounds, they got rained out, so we never got to try them.
Oh,
so hopefully next year.
Yeah, hopefully next year. You're right. You can still do this again. What can you explain the experience of actually being there and actually competing? Can you explain? Is it hard to describe, or how do you describe it?
It's a little hard to describe, but it is so beautiful there. Yes, there's some nerves, but I was just so happy to be there, and just competing there was already the prize.
Television and cameras are following you, right? It's on television. It was on television last Sunday, and they're also following you around. Does that add pressure?
A little bit, yes. But it's just like a normal golf tournament. Just a lot fewer shots, and it's just the nicest course I've ever set foot on.
Gosh. Did they let you play a round of golf at all?
No, they didn't.
What were you doing when you weren't competing?
When I wasn't competing, I was hanging out with my friends in the hotel or practicing at the River Golf Club.
Oh, my gosh. Kielynn, do you have any questions? I'm sorry. I'm so excited to talk to her.
I love hearing about this whole experience because I guarantee it's a once-in-a-lifetime type of opportunity. Hopefully not for you because you're already on your way. What was your favorite part about the whole experience?
There's so many favorite parts I have, but I think my most favorite part is actually competing in it because, I kind of like the pressure, I feel like. And I just really loved being out there.
Did you meet any professional golfers? Was anybody out there yet?
In the practice round, there was Jordan Spieth. I got his autograph. And then Shane Lowry, Harrison English, Ludwig over. And then on the competing day, I saw Scotty Scheffler with his mom playing.
Oh, that's
With
so
his
fun.
mom?
Oh my gosh. That is really cool.
I feel like that's gonna be you and your dad Adam someday. look, it's Taylor and Adam playing.
What an experience, truly an experience. But I understand from some people that I've heard from that said you don't necessarily want to become a pro. You don't want to be a professional golfer. True?
Correct. Yes. I really love golf just for competing fun purposes. But, I mean, when I grow up, I would like to be a realtor or a nurse. And I feel like golf is just something I'm going to do on the side when I'm older. I'm going to hopefully play with my kids and just have a good time out there.
That's so cool. Please, go ahead.
I definitely want to play in college, so.
Okay. Well, listen, I know you've got to run. I want to keep you for just a minute. Can your dad hear us? Is Adam there with you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Adam, what has this experience been like for you going and your family? I know Jessie can't be with us today. Your wife, she is at another tournament with another one of your kids. But what was that experience like for your family as a dad, as a parent?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. And she's been pretty bummed with the results. She's the only one in the entire world that's disappointed with, how a couple of the shots went. But, when you don't reach your goal and maybe some tears are flowing and, a lady comes over and gives you a big hug and says, hey, you're so good. I'm so proud of you for being here. And a couple minutes later, she asked me, she goes, Dad, who was that was hugging me? And I said, well, that was Annika Sorenstam, the number one player of all time in ladies golf. She was on first name basis with Morgan Pressel and a few of the Golf Channel commentators. It was just an incredible experience for her to be in front of thousands of people with all the cameras watching. And as a dad, I've watched the Masters for my entire life, and they have the same camera angles every year, so you see players warming up on the range. And now we have photos of Taylor from those same camera angles, and, with the audience in the background, it's really just something special. And I think if I keep talking about it too much more, I'll start crying. But we're really thankful that, she pours her heart and soul into it. She wears her emotions on her sleeve. And, we're just really proud of the fact that she went out there and gave it her all. And still think she's got a pretty good desire to try to make it back next year.
I know that, that it's so great to hear you talk that way. I mean, it really is so heartwarming to hear about this, your family, and about that relationship that you have with Taylor. For all of us that are listening, you mentioned, and I talked to her about this as well, about the life lessons that you learn with golf. And for you, this was a big part of why you wanted her to be involved in golf. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Golf is one of probably the most unfair sports in the entire world. You can do everything right. You can hit a perfect shot, and you get a bad bounce. It's kind of like showing up for a sales meeting, and you're rushing, and you're almost there, and you get a flat tire. What do? You just have to figure it out and keep going. And she's had a lot of ups and downs in her golf career, and there's no doubt this was probably the biggest stage that she may ever be on, and she handled it very well. She was very nice. She was smiley. She had fun. And more importantly, she learned a lot. So if she keeps putting herself in those positions again, she's going to continue to succeed like she has been.
Adam, we'll let you go. Thank you to you for letting us have this opportunity with Taylor. Taylor, if you can hear us, on behalf of everybody that is listening this morning, good luck to you today in your tournament. And we really appreciate your time right before you go out there. Mm-hmm. Thank you both so
Great
much.
work. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
It's 11:44. Denny, I'm sorry you missed that conversation. I know you had to take Joni and Collin back down to their downstairs out of the building, but boy, was that very special for us. You've got dollars and cents coming up.
Last week we talked about tariffs. This week we're going to talk about the consumer and what the evidence is starting to show for all of us, from everything from the young ones like Kielynn to the old ones like me. The consumer situation is changing.
We'll talk about that when we return with Denny's Dollars and Cents after the break on 93 WIBC.
Life moves fast.
Another new directive from Donald
didn't know you could whistle.
Denny, I learned it from you. What are you talking about?
You've got a friend in
Denny.
when the road looks rough ahead.
I remember singing this song to my grandson when he was just a little boy. Funny how music gets you.
Just remember what your friend Denny said.
Well, last week,
Denny,
we
I'm not
talked-
done yet.
Okay, sorry.
You've got a friend.
This
I
is why
worked
we're in
really hard on
radio,
this.
not-
Is it a good
well,
one?
see, that was your first mistake. You took it seriously.
I took it seriously. Last week,
Okay, serious house.
last week we talked about the tariffs.
Yes, we did.
And I said the jury's still out, but I think it will help us bring down interest rates. And in the meantime, there's going to be a little bit of pain. So I want you to know that in context of what we're going to talk about, which is the consumer today, you know, you're a consumer, I'm a consumer, we are all buying
All
different
of God's
things.
children are consumers.
Consumers. But we've had this illusion of strength that all of a sudden this trigger point of the tariffs has awakened a lot of people to look at things that they haven't been looking at. And one of them is that the job growth data is what we call a lagging indicator. And it is slowed down. And so what we had with COVID from 4 or 5 years ago, and we got this huge stimulus of money, a lot of the things that are now coming to fore have been masked from us for quite a long time. But now when we have the tariffs, it was like somebody pulled a trigger and we're all aware of it. So here's what's going on. Debt is now a necessity for the consumer. Used to be that if we got in a bind, we would use our credit cards and run them up for 1 month and then we'd pay them off a little bit later. Well, now debt is absolutely a necessity for the consumer. And that's a reality that we haven't seen. Credit card usage is rising at an all-time high. Here's the depressing part. There is, you know, when you can pay the minimum on your credit card, you know, you get that credit card statement, minimum is $29 or whatever it is. Well, now that hit a record, people paying the minimum of just under 11%. So 11%.
Only 11%?
1 out of 10 is always paying the minimum, which I think is high. Okay, that's a really high number.
But that's how we did it for so long until we just were underwater.
Well,
we could never catch up.
That wasn't the thing. I remember when you had to pay cash at the grocery store, and whenever I saw somebody use a credit card, I thought, boy, they've really got themselves in a jam that they can't pay cash at the grocery store. Well, now if you don't use a credit card, people think you're crazy. But here's the other part. We are starting to hear in the annual reports. Annual reports are what the big time corporations, they have to report to their stockholders. I'm going to read to you 3 different things from 3 companies that you know very well. Walmart. The CEO says, right now money runs out before the month does. And he's talking about the people that shop at Walmart, which is one of the cheapest places to buy groceries. We call it, Rob Kendallville. Dollar General. Customers keep skipping essentials like meds just to buy food. Now, these are from the CEOs. They know what's selling and what's not. And finally, Citigroup, which is one of the big bankers and investment bankers, is saying consumers are making smaller, cautious purchases. So when you hear somebody say, like, you can finance this, you can finance that, bathroom remodel, whatever it might be, consumers are really pulling back, and they're not doing it. And it's telling us that the economic data is turning soft. And that's a concern. There's a lot of people who think we're already in a recession, that the recession started about 18 to 20 months ago, maybe as far back as COVID, but we threw trillions and trillions of dollars in it, so we masked it. But the unemployment numbers that should have been going up were replaced with government workers. Well, now with Doge, and Terry, you know the drill. You're right you're riding that mule. A lot of people are losing their jobs, and so now we're starting to see things that could be right in our face. And I'm talking about deflation instead of inflation. The good news.
Deflation is that better?
No, deflation is not so good.
Inflation is not good. Deflation is.
It's a psychological thing. I don't like inflation, but deflation is worse because it means tomorrow, if you wait, you're going to buy it cheaper. Kylynn's real proud of her $2.49 shoes that she bought.
They're so cute.
Yeah, but if you would wait a week, those might be $1.49 instead of $2.49. That's deflation. Tomorrow it's cheaper.
It's like waiting for gas to go down.
That's exactly. Right. But that's the good news. Gas is going to be going down. The United States of America is on top of more oil than Saudi Arabia. We just haven't got to it. And so when we hear the president say, drill, baby, drill, what he's trying to do is replace interest costs and everything else by lowering the energy cost. If we can lower the energy costs, we can probably come out of this without too much stress. But deflation, not inflation, is going to be the real threat. Young borrowers are struggling. Old people like me, middle-aged people like you, Terry, and I'm looking at Kai because they're not going to have the opportunities for a couple of years. Once this kicks in, once interest rates come down, energy costs come down, then this is a machine. The United States of America will be a machine both industrially and energized by a really collective populace. It's going to be an exciting time. I saw the GPS.
You don't look like it's going to be an exciting time on your face.
I'm concerned about the next 12 to 18 months. I think it's going to be tough. Yeah. But after that...
How many months, you think?
12 to 18 months. I think we'll be through it.
Okay.
Yeah, by the time we get to the midterms, I think that this has all been timed out and planned. But here's the conclusion. The American consumer is no longer a growth engine. And as a growth engine, that means that we have been pushing the economy. And it's not bad that it's slowing down. It's slowing down at the same time we were reducing all of our government spending. I mean, we were removing trillions of dollars. They found 14 computers that all they did was add money to the system. That meant that somebody had access that says, pay this bill, and the bill was paid. But where did the money come from? Well, it went in to dilute and cause inflation. It just threw more dollars into it. The potential drag on the economy is there, but I believe with the policy shifts that we're seeing coming in, and I'm not an apologist for President Trump, and I told you that last week. I evaluate things on their face value. And so I don't like tariffs, but if it straightens out all the nonsense where we've been taken advantage of by all these other countries around the world, then yeah, let's do that. Let's get it fixed. Ultimately, I'd like to see no tariffs. I'd like to see just a total free enterprise.
It's kind of letting go of some of the things, like the phones. They were talking about the laptops and stuff yesterday. Okay, everything but.
Yeah.
So little by it looks like certain things are starting to trickle back in. Okay, never mind on that. It's just so confusing.
What's so funny is we've gone from 2% approved inflation, which means next year for every $100, there's not going to be $102, and that just compounds and compounds. But now we're seeing these policy shifts where wages are going to hopefully accelerate at the same time that costs are going to go down. And that's when prosperity really and truly happens. So it's time to focus less on inflation and just be prepared that the consumers, which is all of us, that our balance sheets might be crumbling a little bit. Don't panic. Just don't panic. It's all going to work out.
Just as Joni would say to Collin.
Yeah?
Calm down. Calm down.
That's right. Calm down. Thank you, Joni Oakley Maines. That's a good way to do it. But just know that there's some tough times coming, but we will get through it pretty quickly.
Thank you, Denny Paul. We've got the news coming up next. We'll be back after that. 93 WIBC. Whoop, whoop.
It gets after you, you know? It's a morning show and an afternoon show.
Yeah. So good afternoon, I should say. This is the second hour. Welcome to the first day, April 13th, Palm Sunday. Denny saw a donkey.
Yeah, outside
into one church.
outside a church. I was coming down Martin Luther King, and there was a donkey outside, and you know why that donkey's there. It's
right.
Yeah, that's ready to go. Hey,
Ready to
tomorrow I will be married 52 years, lady.
How about that?
No
Happy
way.
anniversary.
I can't believe
Wow.
it. Yeah.
52 years.
52
Happy
years tomorrow.
anniversary to
Coming
you.
up on 19,000 days, if that seems
Denny,
right.
you're not showing your age one bit.
Thank you, man. Take your time. Anything else you want to share?
Nope.
I hope Jane's
Congrats
listening.
to you and Jane. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes. Happy anniversary to you both and to whoever else who is celebrating something today, birthdays, anniversaries. On this date in 2020, coronavirus, all 50 states now under presidential disaster declarations for the first time in U.S. history.
It was the damnedest time to live through I can ever imagine.
Me too.
It was terrible. It was just bad.
Really bad.
You guys have lived through crazy stuff.
Listen, not Pearl Harbor, but everything else in between. 9/11, the whole thing. Riots. Programming note, we will be carrying the IndyCar race in Long Beach today. Our coverage begins at 4 o'clock. Kyle Kirkwood is on the pole. Next to him is Colton Herta on the front row. Both drive for Andretti. We've got 42 days until the Indy 500.
Wow.
97
close.
days, Denny, till the tip-off of the WNBA All-Star Weekend. That's going to be super fun. Indy Arts Council and the WNBA All-Star 2025 Host Committee are collaborating to create a new portrait mural in the Mass Avenue neighborhood this summer featuring WNBA superstar and local icon Tamika Catchings. And you can be a part of this by choosing which mural you like best. They've got a sample of all the different murals,
It
and
is
you can pick.
so hard to pick from.
It
There
is.
are great options.
But this is your last day to do it.
I think Tamika would be very, very proud of what's happened to the women's
Me too.
basketball.
She's
I think
just so awesome. She's,
she's been in studio with us.
in studio. Jake Query and I, when we were on the morning show, we went to her condo on the west side to do the morning show. And there we were in her living room. We were all set up in her living room of her condo. And she was so excited about a hot chocolate maker that she just got. And so she made us some of these hot chocolates, but you could just tell she had kind of had this barista kind of thing. She was into it and it was fun. And then she's opened up these 3 Tease Me stores, restaurant kind of things. So it's just been in her blood, I think, for a long time to have one of these kind of cool places. And she stayed right here and done that. And such an icon, Hall of Famer. And so you can go to, I think it's indyartscouncil.org, and you can choose one there. You can choose one, but just as the last day. indyarts.org. That's it. indyarts.org. And search for Tamika Catchings, and help them pick which one you'd like to see up in the
today
Mass Avenue area.
is also the last day for voting to pick the name of the new baby orangutan at the zoo.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
it is.
They're not going to name him Oscar?
Or Denny. No.
Oh,
You gotta have an
Denny would've
African
been a
name,
good
don't you?
one.
Yeah, you really do. But
The
anyway,
options, you have Eddie, which means handsome one.
Eddie.
Lada, which means pepper. And then Kitambe, which is the name of an area where the first orangutan research sites were
Eddie.
located.
Eddie's, how do you spell it? E-D-D-I-E?
EDI.
E-D-I, oh.
I like
and
it.
he's a cutie, so yep.
Eddie. That's so
Eddie would
cool.
work.
Is today the last day to vote?
Yep, voting, yes.
Yes,
Yep.
okay.
It'd
So
be
a couple
easier to
of
get the
things.
tattoo.
Now through tomorrow, but yeah, today's pretty much the big last day.
Okay. All right, cool. We have got, coming up this week, we'll begin the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War. I don't know, my memory doesn't serve me very well as far as learning about the Revolutionary War in school. Know what we're taught probably, but not a lot
Really?
about
Lexington and Concord?
I
mean,
know.
it's the end of April when that happened.
Ken Burns has done an incredible job, as he always has. He's done the Civil War, Vietnam War, these mega epic documentaries. And he's got one that's coming up about the Revolutionary War. So you'll hear from him coming up after the break on 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
China escalates.
It has been said that documentary filmmaker Ken Burns has brought more to history to Americans than perhaps anybody else, known for taking on these massive projects and PBS documentaries, including the Civil War and the Vietnam War. Well, just in time for next year's 250th anniversary celebration of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Ken Burns has an upcoming documentary titled The American Revolution on PBS this fall. And joining us now is Ken Burns. Ken, thanks for talking to us. How are you?
Oh, I'm so great to be with you, Terry. Thank you. We're very excited. I've been working on this for over 9 years. By the time we hit the finish line in Sunday, November 16th, to be precise, is when PBS will start releasing it. It will be, almost 10 full years that we've worked on it. And I don't think I'll work on a more important project. This is our origin story. For too long, it's kind of been smothered with the barnacles of sentimentality, and it's time to show a really interesting, inspiring story of our national origin. We accept the violence of the Civil War and we accept the violence of our 20th century wars, but we kind of want to protect the revolution as if it wasn't what it was, a very bloody, brutal struggle, I assume, to protect the great ideas as if they'd be diminished. But they're not just not diminished, they're actually increased in importance. The Bible says in the Old Testament there's nothing new under the sun. Well, 250 years ago there was something new under the sun, and that was the United States of America. This is a story that I have been itching to tell almost my entire professional life. We realized that unlike Vietnam or World War II, which we've done, or Civil War, there are no photographs, there are no newsreels, there's nothing. So you have to then create people that we sort of think aren't like us. We can look at the Civil War and see, because they're photographs, that they're like us, but somehow we see the wigs, we see the breeches and the stockings, and we're seeing them in sketches or paintings. Yeah. And somehow you have to remind people that they lived as full a life, if not fuller, than we live today. And that when you're talking about someone like George Washington, without whom we don't have a country, talk about an indispensable human being, though he has, some flaws and contradictions, we don't have a country without him, and our film proved this in nearly every episode.
How many people were in the 13 colonies? Was it the number? Do we know?
We kind of know. The combined white and black population, say, just before on the eve of the war, is probably 2.5 million people. And then, of course, we're surrounded by a much greater number of Native Americans that are there. And then you have a Spanish empire that's down in what is now Louisiana, and, of course, throughout South America. And the British and the French and the Spanish and others lay claim to many of the Caribbean islands. It's interesting. We're the most populous, those 13, but there's 13 other colonies in the Caribbean that are much more profitable. Unfortunately, the reason is that they depend on slave labor. The only really profitable colonies are Virginia and South Carolina that have huge enslaved populations. Massachusetts, for example, would be the least profitable. So you've got a very complex dynamic, and it isn't just one native person. It's dozens of tribes, and they're not just at the borders. They're intermixing. There's German immigrants. There's all sorts of religions tolerated. In fact, many people have moved from Europe, French Huguenots, sorts of Protestant denominations, Quakers, of course. And so you've got this great mix of people. And the idea that the 13 colonies that were like different countries could ever come together is preposterous. But there was a Native American example of the Iroquois Confederacy that had done it for hundreds of years, a kind of functioning democracy amongst many tribes. Benjamin Franklin said, boy, we should do that. He dreamed it up 20 years before the Revolution. Nobody bought it. And yet his war cry and an image, a snake cut into pieces with the dire warning, join or die, then became 20 years later the war cry in the most consequential revolution in the history of the world.
This is going to be such an education for so many, I tell you, because when you look at some of the latest numbers that I could find, Ken, from the American Revolution Center, 83% of American adults did not have a basic idea or basic understanding of the American Revolution War. And more than a third did not know which century it actually happened, and half believed that either the War of 1812 or the Civil War happened before the American Revolution. So this documentary, God bless you, will be a great learning lesson for all of us.
Thank you. I really hope so. I find that all the time, and I'm stunned because people are so certain of their political persuasions, left, right, or center, and identifying themselves and not you as a patriot and that, and yet they have no idea how the word got started, what it actually means, what's the opposite. The people who were conservative were the loyalists. The greatest system of government up to this point was the British constitutional monarchy, and the prosperity of the 13 colonies was undeniable proof that this was the way to go. And yet there were divisions and fissures and cracks and that sort of stuff. So I think it's going to be an interesting story. The good thing is there's no quiz, there's no test on Tuesday. This is a good story. And so I don't know if you read our press release, but we have, obviously we have no witnesses from the time. So we have hundreds of first-person voices from English soldiers and Irish and Scottish and Welsh and British officers and the King and the Prime Minister and German officers and their wives and women and loyalists and patriots and, north to south, all around, native voice, all of that stuff is there. They're read by people like Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep and Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson and Sir Kenneth Branagh and Damian Lewis and Matthew Rhys and Claire Danes and Laura Linney and Paul Giamatti. So we have, and I've probably named only 10% of the people who are reading for the film. So the entire story of us. And hopefully we'll see those numbers change a little bit downward. 83% just, makes my knees buckle.
Through the course of this war, you mentioned what a bloody war it was, and I looked at the numbers. 6,800 Americans were killed, 6,100 wounded, upwards of 20,000 taken prisoners, and historians believe at least 17,000 deaths were the result of disease.
All of those are probably low. We have no way of measuring because of the inadequate records of the time. We think upwards of 50,000 British and German, their hired German troops were killed. It could be that high. There's a lot of times there's just Americans against Americans. There's one battle, Kings Mountain, just inside South Carolina from North Carolina, which there's only one British officer who's leading the loyalists, and everybody else who's killing everybody else are Americans killing each other. And it's not, nobody's there counting who was lost. There's just these rough estimates. And, we've already, when I made my Civil War series, we said, we always err on the conservative side, and we said 600,000+. We now think it's upwards. Scholarship is now putting it upwards of 750,000 killed during the Civil War. But the percentage is almost the same of the population in the Revolution as it was much later when we were a big country of 31 million when the Civil War started.
What was something that you learned that you didn't realize you hadn't known about the Revolutionary War when you were making this film?
Kielynn, there are so many thousands over the nearly 10 years. It is so flabbergasting how little we know, any of us. And I knew a lot about the Revolution, or so I thought. So let me just reverse it a little bit and ask either one of you if you know how the people who dumped the tea in Boston Harbor were dressed. They were all white men, rich and poor alike, Boston citizens. How were they dressed?
I don't think I know how they were dressed.
They were dressed as Indians, but then the next question is, why were they dressed as Indians?
I don't know.
They were saying to the British, we're Aboriginal. We're here. We are no longer part of you.
Wow.
This is 1773.
Wow.
This is, 3 years before the Declaration and 2 years before the start of the war. And it's so ironic because they're identifying with the very people whose land they are now going on. And part of the reason why the revolution comes is because the British don't want us to expand the territory because they can't defend us, and the native peoples don't want us to take over their territory or at least recognize their sovereignty. So we were saying to the British as we dumped that tea, we're from here, not from you. It was a sort of severing of ties. So that, Kielynn, is just one of maybe a million little things. The indispensability of George Washington, as I was mentioning. You know, we introduce an American hero, one of maybe second only to Nathaniel Greene as Washington's most favorite commander, who was good in battle, really good in battle. He's introduced in the first moments of the second episode, and it's not until a third of the way through the sixth and last episode do you find out what Benedict Arnold did to go against his country. So up until that point, he's a hero. And every time he shows up, he does something heroic. Everybody knows the name Benedict Arnold, and they just go, that's synonymous with traitor. But wouldn't it be great to know this, the interesting stuff? You think of armies, the paintings just show all men. Every army, British, American, has lots and lots of women and children following around, cooking, cleaning, tending to the dead, just wanting to be close to their husbands or sons or whatever. And so all of a sudden you get a different sense of what a battle is even like during this period. And it's been, let me just put it, I won't work on a more important film. Maybe the Civil War, maybe Vietnam, maybe some of the other films we've done are as important, but I won't work on anything more important than this history of the American Revolution, because I think it also has the possibility of helping us. And I must say, Eli Lilly Foundation has been extraordinarily helpful for us in the past with our World War II film, and now in the educational outreach for this film, of just helping to restitch us together, you know, to put the us back in the U.S.
Ken Burns, thank you so much for joining us. Filmmaker and his 6-part series, An American Revolution, will be premiering on PBS November 16th. Put it in your calendars. We'll remind you when we get to that point, too.
Thank you, Ken, so much. What a treat to have that opportunity to talk to Ken. We appreciate it. It is 12:25. Speaking of movies, two simple words, chicken jockey, are causing unprecedented...
Say it, chicken jockey.
Are causing unprecedented disruptions at screenings of a Minecraft movie.
Oh, gosh.
They're transforming theaters into scenes of popcorn-flinging pandemonium when the now infamous line is delivered. So apparently, if you go to the movies to see this, a Minecraft movie, there's pandemonium when the words chicken jockey are uttered in the film.
They've had to put signs up for it going in.
You got to admit.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know what it means. But apparently, when the words chicken jockey come out, everybody goes crazy in the film, or in the theaters. But there is that discussion of, well, it's bringing people to the movies, but then the discussion is, but there's pandemonium and a lot of cleanup after everybody leaves.
Oh, boy.
So they don't know what to do. But yes, signs are being, and some instances are saying that, you know, you can't come in with, it's normally for an R-rated, you'd have to have an adult with you, but this is PG, but they're still in some instances saying you got to come with an adult if you're coming, okay? So stop doing what you're doing. Everybody's going to bring, somebody's waiting to see if they bring chickens in. I don't know what it means. We're going to take a break. Thanks for joining us here on the first day. The news is next on 93 WIBC.
Spring selling season is here.
listening to.
This
This
is
is
called-
maybe that there was something wrong.
I thought it was
No.
Halloween.
This is called Midnight City. It can be a banger sometimes, especially when it's midnight.
So what's going on, everybody?
It's a beautiful day outside.
Are
We're
we
all going to
up?
be doing
Are we talking to
Yes.
ourselves or we're up?
Yes.
This is broadcasting?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Maybe not to your standard then.
Listen, I'm not the chicken jockey here. Will you guys come in?
There's something that I ran into Brian Pointer in the hallway. So I taped something with him very quickly.
Brian
because-
Pointer is Indiana Outdoor on our sister station.
Yeah. And Kielynn, I think I want you to, can we play this? Hold on just a minute. I ran into Brian. Here's a little bit of our conversation. Oh, wait. I got to play it from here, don't I? Here we go. I'm going to play it. Ready?
Ready.
Here we go. This is Brian Pointer, host of Indiana Outdoors. Here we go.
Because I just saw that morel mushrooms were growing in Bloomington.
Correct. It's time. You know what they say, the old adage, tax day to mid-May. And if you see dandelions, there's mushrooms. If you see anthills, there's mushrooms. And it has nothing to do with what's going on outside. It's all what the ground temperature's doing. Doesn't matter that we got all this rain. It has to do with the ground temperature. And then the mushrooms come up. There's reporting, it goes about 100 miles a week. So it travels north. You can follow them all the way from Alabama and Arkansas all the way up to Michigan. Pretty much anywhere in the country grows about 100 miles, that northern boundary, about 100 miles a week.
So if we see them in Bloomington now,
Oh, yeah.
this would be what we hunt for on Easter.
Yes, and it doesn't surprise me that they're a little early because we've had great moisture. We had a good winter. The temperatures have been up and down, but it's hard to get the ground temperature right when it's, 35 degrees outside, but we're in it. People are finding them. Right now, they're probably pretty small still. You might step on more than you find. In about 2 weeks, within 10 days to 2 weeks, you're going to see, 6-inch morel mushrooms just about everywhere, except where I am because I can't find them.
Thanks, pal.
No problem. Always great to visit with you.
That is our friend Brian Pointer. And I asked him yesterday, my sister found a bucket full in Morgan County. So this is really what we do on Easter, and I'm so happy to hear that it sounds like it's going well when it comes to our morel mushrooms. Denny, do you like them?
I grew up with them. My grandmother and my mother. The best year my mom and dad ever had was 8,000 mushrooms. They traveled up to Michigan and ran with the gypsies that pick mushrooms. 8,000 they had. They bought two small little portable freezers and put them on the back of Dad's van.
That's worth a fortune now.
It would be now.
It really would. It would be worth a fortune. Anyway, I just wanted to get you updated because I'm seeing everybody starting to see the morel mushrooms. And if you're a morel mushroom hunter, I love hunting for the morels.
You know, I was really confused the first time I went mushroom hunting. I was born in Colorado, lived a little bit in Utah. And so then when I first came here, we were like, we're going mushroom hunting. And I was like, all right, why not just go buy them from the store? Okay. So we went out and I found the actual mushrooms that are poisonous.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't realize what we were actually looking for.
Thank goodness you didn't lick that or anything.
No. But I certainly picked them and I brought them back. I was like, look what I found. And then our friend who lived here, he was like, no. Put that. Are we going to go wash your hands?
Yeah, they're big business, but not many people think that there's any therapeutic value of morels. They're talking about chagas, lion mane, reishi.
Oh, yeah.
All those are very therapeutic for everything
They
from
really
memory
are.
to...
It's starting to make a lot more news about how therapeutic mushrooms
They
are.
put them in gummies.
Yeah, they do put them in gummies.
Like the mushrooms on your shirt.
All kinds of stuff. Oh, and Denny's wearing mushrooms.
I guess I
That's
am.
right.
Wait a minute, I better
Kylan's
stand
gonna
up
get
here.
it. There you go.
All right.
Denny's got his mushroom shirt on. So I thought we should hear from Brian.
Everybody thinks I'm such a stoner when I wear this shirt. I go, no, you can wear mushroom shirts.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so listen, it's a great time to be a Pacer fan. Did you know? It is, because Pacer playoff tickets are on sale right now. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got an IndyCar race that's coming up at 4 o'clock here on WIBC and a lot more. We've got some really cool food news that's coming up. Mm-hmm. And it's tied into Bourbon, Indiana. Did you know we have a Bourbon, Indiana? Well, we do. We're going to talk about what happened in Bourbon, Indiana, and
what we're
some
doing
support.
to help it out.
Yeah, they need some help. So we're going to talk about that. Why don't we take a break so we can spend a little more time with Nate Spangle, who's coming up next, right here on 93. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll take a break.
You're
You
mad
know
at
he'd
me because I
complain.
said chicken jockey. That's why you're just holding a
That's right.
grudge.
Oh, when I turned my head quickly, I saw a note. Do you know this is the 60th anniversary of the Palm Sunday tornadoes?
Oh, hurricane tornadoes. I'm sorry, tornadoes has tore through Indiana.
Right. It tore through everywhere. I mean, through the Midwest. It was just a reminder. April 11th. No, that would have been the 11th. That was a couple days ago,
I was
wasn't
in
it?
junior high school when that happened, and it was bad.
1965, Palm Sunday tornado outbreak, one of our country's worst. So many killed, including right here in Elkhart County. 67 were killed on that day. Just a reminder for those of you that remember how awful of a day that really was. All right, now we'll take a break. It's 1240, 93 WIBC.
Life moves fast.
Another new directive from Donald Trump.
President Trump will not.
I know this next week is going to be filled with glorious food of your own as we approach Easter. Hopefully you have some nice ham plans.
Oh, I've got ham plans. Denny's got ham plans.
Hey.
We have ham plans.
A little food deal for you before we get into it with your food news. Nothing Bundt cake. You've had them. Love them. Today's the last day for buy one, get one free if you want a little Bundtlet for your
That's a
Sunday.
great tip.
Yeah, but today's food news we're dedicating to a different cause. You know, we've gone through a lot with the past storms. We're still dealing with the
Still a
cleanup
lot
and
of cleanup.
recovery,
Yep.
and especially Bourbon, Indiana. And there's some causes and fundraising happening for Bourbon, Indiana, because they were touched down by an EF1 tornado. And Nate Spangle, founder of Get Indiana, he was from Bourbon, Indiana, and so he is starting a new fundraiser to help out Bourbon. Nate, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. This is awesome.
Nate, you know what? I'm a follower. I do appreciate
I
what
think
you
we
do.
all are.
We are big
Let's
fans of what you're
go.
doing.
Wow, that is big. You guys just made my Sunday.
You know,
yeah, please, Kylie, go ahead.
Because you are founder of Get Indiana, and then you're also the host of Get Indiana, the podcast.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to talk all about that as well later on, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Love it. Let's get into this. Terry and I had this discussion last week. We didn't realize Indiana had a Bourbon, Indiana. Where is Bourbon, Indiana?
Yeah, Bourbon is smack dab between Plymouth and Warsaw up on US 30, like about 30 minutes south of South Bend.
Oh,
so small town, 1,600 people in northern Indiana. Yeah, and I mean, the best name, right? Like Bourbon, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
Now, is there a Bourbon High School? What's the mascot?
It's Triton High School, and the mascot is the Trojans.
The Trojans, okay.
But the bourbon battling barrels could have been a really good mascot.
I think I like Nate.
You'll like him even more. This is where you grew up, right? Before moving here to Indy?
Yeah. So, I mean, growing up all the way through high school, first 18 years of my life, grew up in Bourbon, went to Triton. And then, I've been in Indy now for the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay. Go ahead, Kielynn. I'm sorry.
Okay. So now, what is your fundraising? Tell us about this fundraising, Bourbon for Bourbon, that you're doing to help out Bourbon, Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, you kind of mentioned it earlier. Tornado touches down in my hometown, 1,600 people. And I got on, Facebook or even the news and was seeing all the damage up there. And I was like, man, even though I live out in Indy now, like, it's still home to me. Some of my best friends still live up there. So I knew I had to help. And actually, funny enough, my friends at Rare Saint, when they're like a local distillery and they specialize in bourbon and whiskey, we had been joking around about doing a limited release, like Bourbon, Indiana bourbon, like way before the tornado. We were just like, oh, this would be so fun. And then when this happened, I was like, what better time to, bring this crazy idea to life as well as raise money for a really good cause. There was some public spaces damaged in Bourbon. The softball, baseball fields took a brunt of the damage, and the town's working to raise some money to rebuild that so that, kids in the small town can collaborate over the summer and play baseball. So I started the fundraiser, Bourbon for Bourbon. I'm gifting bottles of Rare Saint bourbon and an exclusive barrel pick to donors that come along and help us raise $20,000. We launched it officially 48 hours ago and have already raised $12,000 of our $20,000 goal. So things are rocking and rolling.
Great.
And these are special, if people help you, you're willing to help them. If you donate $100, you're going to receive a bottle of Rare Saint bourbon. If you donate $500, Nate's going to personally hand deliver 2 bottles. And if you donate $1,000, you get a case, which is 6 bottles of Rare Saint bourbon, hand delivered by Nate along with a personal thank you video.
That's so cool.
This is really cool, Nate.
Yeah. You get to have dinner with Nate, too. If you go $2,500, you get dinner with him at St. Elmo. Yeah.
At St. Elmo.
Oh,
so
my
if you're out there and really want to be generous and you want a lovely dinner at St. Elmo Steakhouse, you can eat some shrimp cocktail, do the whole shebang. Yeah, that's one of the options as well.
Okay. But you've got a deadline.
Yes, we're raising it all by the end of April. So our goal is to get it all done by the end of April. I mean, we are pacing way hell, and it's awesome to see Central Indiana, like my community that I built down here, supporting the community that helped, raise me up in Bourbon, and it's been awesome to see everyone kind of band together, and I'm really excited for the impact that we can make in the small town.
I grew up in a small town in Henry County, Knightstown, Indiana, home of the Hoosier Gym, Nate.
Home of the Hoosier Gym,
That's
baby.
it.
Go Milan
That's
Indians.
it. You know
Well,
what?
actually, go
Absolutely.
Hoosier.
So I understand that small town community and how you do help each other, but you do need sometimes for people to come from the outside to help as well. But that small town community, you grew up there, right? You said you grew up in Bourbon. And what does that little town mean to you?
Oh, my gosh. Well, some of my best friends still live up in the Bourbon area. So I get to frequent it often and go up and hang out with them. And, I mean, growing up in a small town, the idea of caring and the idea of the tight-knit community where people step up for each other when – maybe there's adversity. So that was why it wasn't really a question of if I was going to do something when I saw the news about the tornado. It was, what am I going to do and how do I get it moving ASAP? Because I know so many people from that community have stepped up time and time again for me and have come up in big moments in my life. So it wasn't really a question of if. It was how are we going to do it and what are we going to make happen?
I thought you guys were the moonshine capital of the world, but it turns out you were named after Bourbon County, Kentucky. And that it started in 1853, and because you thought there was going to be a railroad spur coming in, and I'm not sure how that took place, but I can't believe you're named after Kentuckians.
Yeah. Well, maybe we don't need to share that part.
All right. Well, it's just our secret.
Well, and it's like that's the retirement gig, right? It's just open a distillery in Bourbon. Like I already have retirement. Who needs a beach in Florida? I got a distillery, a bourbon, bourbon barrels and bourbon, baby. Come on.
We're talking with Nate Spangle, founder of Get Indiana, and he is the starter of this fundraiser, Bourbon for Bourbon. You can donate and get some of this limited edition chance for this rare Saint bourbon. I have not realized the difference between tastes of bourbons. Can you describe this bourbon for us? If there are people who are bourbon connoisseurs.
Yeah.
How's it taste?
So the fun part about this one was it's a barrel pick. So it's a limited edition. There will only be one barrel of this bourbon in existence. And I went through and we were picking out. They gave me 5 options to choose from when I was down at the facility with Rare Saint. So the one I picked was, we said, floral, approachable, and not pretentious. Those are the three things.
Now that's marketing. There's some marketing.
Yeah, we're a 1,600 person town. Like we're not. Like, this isn't like Manhattan, New York City bourbon. This is like, we're a dive bar, hometown friends. Like, but it's really, really good. A spectacular bourbon. And I mean, there's only 200. Like, it's a limited release.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It's very special.
Year, weeded. It'll be fun.
Is this the same company that does Eagle Rare? That's the only one. Eagle Rare was one of my favorites. And when I saw this Rare Saint, I thought, man, I've not heard of this.
No. So interesting enough, Rare Saint is actually the distillery that provides a bunch of bourbon to St. Elmo Steakhouse.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
And they're a part of the Hughes culinary family.
Yeah.
They are awesome. They take really good care. And I mean, just stewards of the Indianapolis brand as a whole. So I mean, what better iconic Indianapolis brand than St. Elmo, right? To collaborate with.
No, you're right.
Gosh,
They have been
You're right.
doing some interesting things. They've been doing the Barstool brand, and they've also
Barkeep vodka.
There it is. And they've also been doing a Cosmopolitan. It's called a St. Elmo.
Denny loves
Cosmo.
Cosmopolitans.
Cosmos.
He does.
You got him off on his rant.
Oh
right?
man, you're taking care of me here, Nate.
Yeah. And I just want to say thank you because I'm a subscriber for Get Indiana and for your newsletter that comes out every day. You're focusing on Winfield, Indiana. The cool part is he shows you all these great little communities that you don't know about in our state with Get Indiana. So I highly recommend if you love our state.
I'm so impressed. Let's go. That's huge.
No, I was looking. I think
We're
I've
all
been
subscribing. It's free weekly. Please go get it yourself.
I started subscribing last November or October, and I just love it. So thank you for what you do, and I know it's got to be fun for you to really focus on some of these little communities that don't get any attention. So Get Indiana, I highly recommend that you subscribe. Kielynn, I'm sorry I hijacked it.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're very welcome.
You are known for your podcast, Get Indiana, and you should go follow him on all of the social media platforms to follow along on his journeys. One of your infamous questions is what is a hidden gem in Indiana. So now we have to ask you, what is your favorite hidden gem?
Oh, well, that is such a spectacular question. Whoever thought of asking that question to a bunch of Hoosiers must be a smart guy. Wow.
Oh, definitely. You should get his
No, I love it. And in line with the whole campaign and the reason that I'm talking to you guys today, I'm going to give you the best dive bar in the state of Indiana, named Journey's End in Bourbon, Indiana. It is for a small town dive bar. It's got like pool tables, boxing machine, dartboards, like a shuffleboard table, unlimited games when you're up there. Plus, they've got some really, really good food. And I mean, it's just a great place in a small community to grab a drink, hang out, watch a game, just have some fellowship with some friends.
Okay, Journey's In. I love it too.
Journey's In.
In Bourbon, Indiana. Just because I'm curious, what did you do before founding Get Indiana?
So I went to DePaul University. I was an Orr Fellow here in Indy, part of that program. I worked in tech for 3 or 4 years before about a year ago I left out to start Get Indiana and really just promote stories of Hoosiers that are doing amazing things, right? From small towns like Winfield and Bourbon to what's going on in the big city with arts and culture. And it's been awesome, and it's been a lot of fun 1 year in, and I'm excited to just keep rolling.
You, sir, are a Hoosier doing great things, especially with this Bourbon for Bourbon fundraising campaign. Where is the best place for people to go to donate?
Yeah. So if they go to either on Instagram or Facebook, you'll see at Nate Spangle, and the link is in my bio there. So you can see it's like Bourbon, number 4 Bourbon, and that'll lead you to the link. And yeah, we're 12,000 of our $20,000 goal. So hopefully maybe even by the end of this week, we'll be there and we can get a check made up and give it to the town of Bourbon and help them continue to rebuild.
Let's do
You're a
it.
great
Awesome,
American.
Nate.
A
Truly
great American.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
You guys, I feel so honored on a Sunday to be on this.
We'll have to have you in studio next time.
Come and see us in studio. We want to have you come and hang out with us for sure.
I'm so in. Let's do that.
Nate, thank you. Thanks for giving us your time on this Sunday, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Good luck, and we'll keep plugging away at your Bourbon for Bourbon. Thank you for what you're doing.
You.
You're amazing.
Doing the Lord's work.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, doing the Lord's work. All right, we got by Nate. It is 12:56. Is our time? 30 seconds. We've got to run. Denny, thanks for coming in today.
It's a great day. Happy Palm Sunday to y'all.
Absolutely. Happy
Amazing day.
Palm Sunday and Passover as well.
We'll still be here on Easter.
We'll be here next
join
weekend
us.
for sure. Enjoy the week. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon. News is next.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indy can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indy. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you.